The first 4 rounds of your fantasy football draft, I would say, are pretty important. So you're going to want to be picking the best players in those first 4 rounds. Now, yeah, drafts are typically won or lost by how you're doing in the middle and late rounds, and we will have a video out on both middle and late round draft guys to avoid and to go after. But today, we're going for the big boys, the guys we're investing most of our draft capital in early. The first 4 rounds of your fantasy football draft, first 48 picks. These are the guys to target, the guys to avoid, landmines, and guys that will win you your league. Let's get into it. So obviously where we are heading first is going to be round 1. What do you want to do with your first round selections? Guys to target, guys to avoid. Well, we already have some good videos about, mock drafts from every single pick, early pick, mid pick, late pick, but now we're looking at the early rounds. So everyone's in play. Now, what I will say about the early rounds is if we look at the guys that are typically ranked, the top 6 picks, you're in a good spot. I like the top 6 picks, and I also like picking at the back half of the first round. I'll tell you why. The top 6 picks is a tier of guys that are just kind of, they're very good. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. These 3 wide receivers, they are the guys they're the alphas. Like, you look at these 3 guys, they're going to give you potentially 18, 19 plus points every single game, as long as their quarterback's healthy, as long as they're healthy. So these guys are true wide receiver ones. They are alphas that can win you a league. Now, the teardrop after these guys, the guys that are in the second half of round 1, is when you look at Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, why do I say it's a teardrop? Well, Puka, there is definitely some health concerns, and Devontae Adams comes in looking at Puka's touchdown rate, right? Like Puka Nacua's touchdowns, he had 1 touchdown every 4 games in 2024. That's not good. That's not good compared to some of the alpha guys, looking at Jefferson, looking at Jamar Chase, who had 1 touchdown every game or 1 touchdown every 2 games. Now, Malik Neighbors going into year 2, a case can be made that Malik Neighbors is exciting, and I am excited about him, which is why I like going to the second half of round 1. So, looking at the guys to target, the top 6 picks, you really can't mess up. There's also Saquon, there's Bijan, those are the running backs that mix in with these guys. And then, of course, the final name. So, yeah, those are there's 3 running backs, actually. So, there's Saquon, there's Bijan, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs typically rounds out my top 6 elite tier. Now, the second half of round 1. Why do I like picking in the second half of round 1? I also feel like you really can't do any wrong. Now, there's only one landmine. Who do we all think it is? That landmine is going to be a running back that goes by CMC. Christian McCaffrey. You have to avoid him or you have to take him. You basically are counting on, is he healthy or is he not healthy? Because Christian McCaffrey, every single year that he's been healthy, he's been RB3 or better in finishing points per game. When he is healthy, 5 out of 8 seasons of his career, 5 seasons in his career, RB3, RB2, RB2, RB1, RB1. Dominant. Now, there's 3 out of those 8 seasons where he was a bust. He lost you your league. Don't think that you can take McCaffrey and then take Garendo or Jordan James late in the draft and you'll be okay even if he's injured. You won't be. You're investing too heavily into this position, into this guy. If you take CMC in the second half of round 1, you need him to be healthy or you are probably not going to be able to make your league. You're just not going to be able to recover with that loss of value. So CMC is somebody where I'm calling him a landmine, but he also could be the best pick in the draft at the second half of round 1. So that's somebody that I would be like, I don't really know. Now, I like the second half of round 1 because you're getting guys like Puka, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I actually like all of those guys. They're going in round 1 for a reason. You also have Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., Ashton Jenney. Now, the reason I like the second half of round 1 is because you get the double dip. There's a second tier of guys. So you have the top 6, the elite, the alphas. Take a look at what we have, right? So you have Devon Achane, you have Drake London, Brock Bowers, A.J. Brown. There's 20 good players on the board. If you're picking in the top 6, sure, top 6 guys, you're going to have one of the elite tier, the top 6 players in the draft, right? So you're going to be looking good in that sense. But on the way back around, if you're top 3 pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, then you're going to be outside of that top 20 tier and you're not going to get the double dip. So if you're pick 10, pick 11, pick 12, you'll be able to double dip. You'll be able to get, Puka and PTJ, Nico Collins and Malik Neighbors. You'll be able to get 2 guys in that top 20 tier. And if you're getting Malik Neighbors paired up with Nico Collins, there's high upside cases for both of them. Now, looking at how the ESPN ADP lines up, some of the potential landmines, like Derrick Henry, I got to say, guys, that Derrick Henry is not somebody that I plan on drafting myself. 1.3 targets per game. I just can't do it. Like, yeah, sure, he was RB4 finisher. Sure, he had 20 PPR points per game. 59% of the snaps. His touchdown rate, let's look at his touchdown rate, over 1 touchdown every game. Now, sure, if he's healthy, we expect that to continue. They didn't really invest too much in their RB position, but Keenan Mitchell is back from injury. Justice Hill is pretty much the main receiving back in this Baltimore backfield. This is Baltimore's season where they're built to contend this year. If they don't do it this year, then things aren't looking good for Baltimore. But I do have to say that Derrick Henry can be somebody that returns value. Currently, he's looking at around number 17 or 18 in ADP. You have to invest quite heavily. I'd actually rather target a running back that has receiving upside as well. It's a safer floor, especially in a PPR format. Like if we look at Bucky Irving, now Bucky Irving's stats are going to be a bit skewed because in 2024, he wasn't really the starter until the second half of the year. So if we take a look at what Bucky Irving did in the second half of the year, it would be a lot better than this 14.4 average PPR points per game that we're seeing right here. But Bucky Irving's receiving role, he had 23 receiving yards per game and 3 targets per game, and that's including the first half of the season where he wasn't even involved at all. So really those numbers are even higher than what you're seeing here. Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor. Now Jonathan Taylor is not going to be as involved in the receiving game, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. Now if I let's do this. Bucky Irving, week 9 to 18. Let's see how Bucky Irving looks then. Look at that. 25 receiving yards per game, 3.3 targets per game, 1 touchdown, over 1 touchdown every 2 games, and 81 rushing yards, 17 PPR points per game, compared to Derrick Henry, who was at 19.8 for the season. So Bucky Irving, this is someone who's going basically into his second year of starting, and now, he is the main workhorse in that Buccaneer backfield. Sure, Rachaad White still will be involved, and I actually like Rachaad White as a sleeper. I like somebody that can do it both, whereas Derrick Henry, he's old, and you're relying on touchdowns. Don't really love that. So Derrick Henry is somebody I am avoiding. Another guy that I'm avoiding at price is Kyren Williams. Now, I like Kyren Williams, man, but Sean McVay has proven before that he doesn't do what we like with running back positions, a.k.a. scam makers. He scammed me. That's why. So Kyren Williams had an 88% snap share. That's wild. And why do I think that that's wild? Well, first off, normal running backs have a 60 to 75% snap share. So Kyren Williams was getting so many touches. 17 PPR points per game. Sure, that's all good and all. They bring in Jarquez Hunter, and Blake Corum is already Kyren Williams' doppelganger. Blake Corum is basically Kyren Williams 2.0. Obviously, they don't use Corum, but they bring in Jarquez Hunter, and Sean McVay, everything he's saying about Jarquez Hunter is that Jarquez Hunter is basically more explosive than Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams won't and doesn't have the explosive big play speed. He's heavily involved in the receiving game. He can be good as a rusher, right? Like he's giving you 4.1 yards per carry, which we see is the worst here compared to Derrick Henry and Bucky Irving. But Kyren Williams is kind of just one of those high volume guys. He's good. He's good. But Jarquez Hunter has the explosive big play potential, and sounds like he's going to be on the field. So Kyren Williams' snap share comes down from 88% down 20% to 70% like a normal running back. He's going to lose some of that upside, right? So I don't like Kyren Williams because he's currently priced as ADP of 23, ahead of Josh Allen, ahead of that elite QB range, ahead of Ladd McConkey, ahead of Tyreek Hill. I just think there's better upside guys out there for my personal preference. Now, I do love elite quarterback this year. I think they're pretty fairly priced. Like elite quarterback, we're looking at ADP of 25, 26, 27, 28. My personal preference is I have Josh Allen, QB1, Lamar Jackson, QB2, then Jalen Hurts over Jaden Daniels. I think Jalen Hurts just gives you more touchdown upside than you would have with Jaden Daniels. So I like Jalen Hurts, and that would be basically coming around pretty much the 2-3 turn. You're able to get one of these elite QB. I like how the elite QB build actually works out this season. Make sure you guys are going with a balanced approach in these first couple of rounds, right? Like you'll be able to balance your draft out more so in the middle rounds and late rounds, which we'll talk about in those videos. But the best approach is really to go balanced. Like if you're going RB the first 3 rounds in a row, you're probably cooked. You're not going to be able to catch up. So just keep that in mind. My least favorite pick, a big landmine, this is the biggest landmine of the draft, is T. Higgins. T. Higgins, oh my God, 18.5 points per game. He's the best. Oh my God, wide receiver 6. This guy he's Jamar Chase 2.0. He's actually the wide receiver 1 over Jamar. 18.5 points per game in 12 games. This guy missed 6 games of the season. Like he's not. He trolled you. He wasn't healthy, and historically he hasn't been healthy. His best season besides this was 15 points per game, and then the rest of his seasons of his career were even worse. Like if I go ahead and I can filter this, which I mean, let's take a look from 2019 all the way to 2024. What has T. Higgins done for us in that time frame? I'm guessing it's not going to be as good as 18.5. It's 14.2, wide receiver 22. So why are we ranking him at his ceiling? Now, his ceiling is also capped, guys. Like, I understand the Bengals offense needs to score points. I understand T. Higgins can be an important and vital part of that. He's a wide receiver 2, at best. Jamar Chase is the alpha. Jamar Chase is that. Look at the contracts. Jamar Chase got paid more. Jamar Chase is the one. Jamar Chase is better. Jamar Chase is healthy. Now, T. Higgins, with the Jamar Chase injury, sure, T. Higgins could be OP. Again, if he stays healthy, which he hasn't throughout his career. But that's why I don't like taking T. Higgins. Like, T. Higgins currently ADP of 29. He's ahead of Ladd McConkey, ahead of Tyreek Hill. Now, when I add Tyreek Hill, you're going to be like, damn, Tyreek Hill sucks because of the 2024 season. But if we look at Tyreek Hill every season besides 2024, like, let's just look at 2020 to 2023. We're going to ignore Tyreek Hill's first couple of seasons with the Chiefs. Let's look at 21 PPR points per game for Mr. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1 in that 4-year span. 93 receiving yards per game. Pretty solid touchdown rate. 9.5 yards per target. 3.0 yards per outrun. Tyreek Hill, when Tua is healthy and Tyreek Hill is also healthy, he's 100 times better than T. Higgins. Like, Tyreek Hill with his speed is just a different type of threat, different type of level. And now that Jonnu Smith's targets are vacated in that Dolphins offense, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are poised to get a lot of that, as well as Devon Achane, who I love Devon Achane as a pick as well, if I didn't mention that. Ladd McConkey, in best ball, I don't like Ladd McConkey because he's going at like ADP of 15. But in your redraft league where wide receivers are pushed down the board and Ladd McConkey sits with an ADP of 30, Ladd McConkey, just because he went in round 7 last year, he was a rookie. Now, Ladd McConkey had 15 points per game. They only bring in Trey Harris, who Trey Harris is a different type of receiver. You have the big Q, Quentin Johnston. This offense still will go through Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey will still get a lot of the receiving usage. Like, if we look at the second half of Ladd's season, let's just say that the first 8 weeks or whatever, Ladd McConkey was earning his rookie stripes. Ladd McConkey, 16.6 PPR points per game, 86 receiving yards per game, 13 yards per target, so that's a pretty good yards per target, better than Tyreek Hill in his 4-year span, 3 on the yards per route run. I mean, Ladd McConkey was just really, really solid in that final half of the season with 17 points per game. And he's still going to be wide receiver 1, and he's going into year 2. Rookie wide receiver is going into year 2. I like that, unless you're named Rome Odunze, which we'll wait for that video. Some other guys that I would probably be avoiding, so somebody I like is Chase Brown. Chase Brown in the running back position, I like him. I like the fact that he's so low on the ADP right now. He's currently 36th in ADP. And Chase Brown had a really nice second half of 2024. And a guy going around him that I don't like at all is Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker can't stay healthy. And when he is healthy, he's solid. But the fact that Zach Charbonnet is currently a round 7 pick, it seems like people are kind of thinking that Zach Charbonnet is going to be involved and or that Kenneth Walker is going to be injured. So that's why I don't like that. If we take a look at Chase Brown, and again, as always, big up to Mason Dodd from Flock Fantasy. Go check out flockfantasy.com. Kind enough to let us use his website in our videos. The GOAT, Mr. Mason Dodd. But Chase Brown, 18.4 PPR points per game from week 7 to week 18. RB6. So RB6, let's just do the math. 1, 2. There's more than 6 running backs going ahead of him on draft boards right now. 80% snap share. I mean, everything is green. Everything is good. The receiving usage, 31 receiving yards and 5 targets every single game. Chase Brown was a true. He was basically, I don't want to compare him to Jahmyr Gibbs guys because the talent's obviously not the same. But Chase Brown still looked really, really dang good. And like I said, the Bengals are going to be playing from behind, so he will be involved as a receiver as well. Taj Brooks, maybe Taj Brooks takes a little bit. Zach Moss is healthy. Maybe Zach Moss takes a little bit. Even if Chase Brown's snap share drops down to like 65%, 70% at worst, I still don't think that Chase Brown's going to give you less than 15 PPR points per game. So Chase Brown is a nice pick. Kenneth Walker is a dusty pick. Those are some of the people to avoid in the early rounds, some of the boys to be taking in the early rounds. Is there anybody else that I wanted to mention? Like, I like James Conner. I like DK Metcalf. That's pushing the back half of round 4. First 4 rounds is what I'm considering the early picks. I love Mike Evans at ADP of 42. George Kittle at 39 seems all right. I like Kamara a lot in PPR leagues. He's currently at 38 ADP, which is kind of pricey for my liking. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 44. Like, looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. real quick, and then we'll wrap things up. Marvin Harrison Jr., worst rookie season of all time for his expectations. 12 points per game, not even. 1.6 yards per route run, not good. But, the best wide receiver prospect of all time. One of them. So, if we plan on a year 2 breakout, I'd much rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. than Rome Odunze, and Rome Odunze only goes 20 picks after this. So, MHJ could be a solid pick as well. That is how to handle the first 4 rounds of your draft. smash the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.